What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's me guys at the Born. We're bringing you some content on Tower of Fantasy, and you know what guys, I'm friggin' loving this game, and maybe that's because I got lucky enough to get King 5-star. Pulled 3 of him outside of the pity. Yeah, okay. I did pull a few, not too many. I'll show you my weapons now so you can see how lucky I did get. I have a 5-star King, 1-star 0-star Nemesis, a 0 Subasa, a load of SRs that we got from Black Nucleus, a 1-star Coco, who I'm not using, a unstarred Shiro, who was from Black Nucleus, which was very lucky. So you can see just quite how lucky I got on getting King, and I gotta admit I'm super happy. I even used my selector box on King because I needed to get his C5, which is the increases damage down against health shields or shielded enemies by 100%, which is absolutely goddamn massive. Okay, he's a big shield killer anyway. You put this in, wow, the damage is absolutely insane. It's actually insane. Even if the enemy is of the opposite even if the enemy is of the opposite type, I'm still using that to break their shield just because it's going to equal about the same, and he is just such a huge shatter damage dealer. Not only that, he's huge on AoE, so like you're gonna want to use the jump attacks mainly, I'm gonna say, because the AoE range is huge. It also deals with more damage, and this slam also causes a lot of damage compared to when you're on the ground. It's not quite as good. The combo doesn't last quite as long. Don't forget to always use his dodge attack. So dodge, then pull them in, because it brings all the enemies into us. And the server is lagging right now while I'm making this video, so I do apologise for that. As you can see, my hits are not registering, which is annoying. A lot of people are suffering with this right now. But look at that, this is his shield. This guy has a shield on. He is weak to volt damage, not fire. And you can just see what kind of damage he will do. The server's lagging, which isn't helping. I do apologise. They need to improve this. But you can see these damage numbers. I mean, just for an enemy that is only weak against Volt, that's huge damage. It's huge damage. You cannot deny that. Another thing is we obviously get to look like Sephiroth. We get to look like Sephiroth. Now, a lot of people, if you're like me, you played Final Fantasy a lot growing up, and this is just, it's great to you know, I love this skin. I love this skin. This unlocks at 3-star. We get this at 3-star. See if I can go ahead into this. So yes, originally King looks like this, but then when we get him to 3-star, we get to look like Sephiroth with a beast ass friggin' scythe that just looks great. It just looks great, right? Can't say it doesn't, because it does. I'm using this skin everywhere I go, and I personally think it's the best skin in the game currently. Just because, maybe it's because it's Sephiroth. I don't know. I love it. It's just cool. Don't forget, right? Don't forget, if you are focusing King as your first character, make sure you're putting all your gifts into King to unlock extra traits such as King Blooded Swipe, which every 7 enemies defeated, King restores health up to 8% of his maximum health. That's his first trait, and his final trait, which is a 4,000, which, yes, okay, it's quite a whale for him. Every 5 enemies defeated by King restore health and equal up to 10% of his maximum health. So he's always leeching health from his enemies for every enemies we defeat. So it's not taking extra damage off of them, but we are getting this proc when we kill that certain amount of enemies. So let's just go through King's skills, constellations, and his abilities quickly. He has obviously double S shatter. He has B charge. Now he is a high attacking unit. When his weapon's fully charged, it will set the target on fire for 8 seconds. The next attack causing ongoing damage of 58% of attack every second. So this actually is causing damage periodically, like a burn. And they also are reduced 50% FC from healing, so they can only heal 50% of the amount when they are affected by this. Now, his advancement, if you're free to play it, or you haven't been lucky to pull him enough, unlike me who got super lucky, then his first one is it increases shatter by 15% after shatter to the target's shield. Deal burn damage equal to 120% of attack to the target every second, 15 seconds. So if you're not quite super strong with King compared to other weapons, use it to break the enemy's shield, then switch to your stronger weapon. You're still going to be dealing 120% of attack to the targets every second, 15 seconds, so bear that in mind. The rest of them tend to go increasing his base health, which is nice, don't get me wrong. C3 is increases damage by 10% for each enemy within 6 meters up to a maximum of 30%, which is huge against AoE enemies. I love using him in a confined area with a lot of enemies because he just deals so much damage. Increases the current weapon's base attack growth by 32%, so that's going to really push your combat score up. A 32% increase to attack is a lot of extra damage. C5 is where it's at. This is where everyone's going to want to get to if you love King, because the double to damage against shields where he excels is just so large. I mean, it just made such a difference to breaking shields. Okay, 6 stars. 6 stars is nice. Increases damage dealt by 10% for each enemy slain for 30 seconds, so it can stack up to an extra 30% extra pure damage. So whatever damage you normally do, you're going to get an extra 30% on top. Someone is fighting in the background. Let's go into his skills. So his normal attacks is while he's on the ground, he swings a scythe to launch 5 consecutive attacks. The base damage isn't as big as it is when it's in the air, but it is still effective. And it does knock the targets back a short distance, so it does cause some CC. It is nice. Just, you can almost, in fact, you know what? Yeah, you can use this. His final attack will cause you to go airborne, which then you'll launch another sequence of attacks for the AoE damage. So it's rising scythe as well, airborne, or after jumping once. I normally jump and then attack, but you can use the ground attacks if you wish. The reason I go in for the air attacks is because the base damage is larger. So we deal damage equal to 63% and 120. We compare it to a first attack on the ground, which is 57% and 108. But it does knock the targets back a short distance. So rising scythe is you jumping in the air, or you're launching it after your ground final attack. The damage is obviously scales as we go through further attacks because enemies can interrupt this. Now bear in mind, after the 5th attack, you're going to start to spin. Which means that anything in front of you in a frontal cone will not be able to attack you back unless it is shielded or it is a boss. Okay, so normal enemies will just be like in a CC effect, and then you're gonna jump up and you're gonna slam down, causing a huge amount of damage. That actually scales to the height, how high you are. See, I don't know quite how this works in compared to meters as such. I would just say the higher you are, the more damage you're dealing. That's the only way I can sort of gauge it. Asunder, tap and hold normal attack while airborne, or tap when a target is selected. Or tap normal attack while climbing, jumping backward, or using a jetpack to trigger Asunder. So it's basically just a initial jump in the air, tap and hold your attacking button, and you're going to cause basically a couple of attacks, then a slam attack, which again will cause up to 600%. So if you're high in the air, you're coming down to slam on someone, be sure to use this initially starting off battle. Returning Chainblade is after the 4th normal attack. Hold the normal attack button to trigger Returning Chainblade. So it transforms into a Chainblade, dealing damage equal to 137% of attack and 259 to nearby targets. Bear in mind, this is usually used to pull enemies in, so if they're starting to spread, you're going to want to pull them back in with Returning Chainblade. Sneak attack is always nice. I use this on enemies such as Treasure Guardians or bosses. I go up behind them and I literally just launch my skill straight away off the bat, and it takes off about half health of the enemy before we've even started battle. This is because of his trait with sneak attack. 507% of attack plus 1076, so it's huge. Dodge is the thing that I love so much about King, because we dodge, we then attack, and we pull everyone in to gather them up. His skill is Swing the Scythe, dealing damage equal to 499.9% of attack plus 943 damage, which is a large amount. It's very good, especially when everyone's in one location. It is a large 360 degrees attack, and it spreads out quite far. It's got quite a large reach, so be sure to use it. His discharge, his weapon discharge, is very strong. I love it. I love it because it continues over quite a long period. So when it's full, it removes debuffs from the wielder. Create a flaming scythe upon switching to this weapon, dealing damage to basically, let's say, 400% of attack plus 752, and lasts for 10 seconds. Additionally, spawn flaming scythes domain every 2 seconds. Basically, big scythes come up through the ground, and they will hit everyone that's in that region. The scythes summon volcanic eruptions from the ground, which deal damage equal to 66% of attack and 125 to targets, and suspend them. So it kind of, I'm dead. I am keeping that in the video because that should tell you guys that you should pay attention to what's going on in the background, because it wasn't someone fighting, it was me getting killed. Nice. Okay, whatever. Matrices. Let's look at matrices. Okay, so King does have a very nice of his own matrix. When a target is shattered, it grants 8% damage boost for 25 seconds. Only the highest levels effect is applied when obtained repeatedly. So obviously this boosts up to 14%. Now, I don't know if this stacks to any point. I don't know if we can shatter multiple shields and this goes on top. I'm unsure on that. But the 4-piece is when there are more than 2 enemies around. Hit restore health equal to 14% on the base of damage dealt upon attacking. So whatever damage we deal, we get a return. We get a return on this. The maximum health restored every 0.5 seconds must not exceed 36% off of the 14% hit. So obviously that will go up the more we get. As we all know, the higher we advance things, the better things get. There is other matrices we can use, such as Faith. Yeah, Samir's. So increases damage aggressively by 1% upon hitting a target. Stack up to a number amount of times. Now, when we are hitting so many enemies in an AoE radius, this can effectively be very nice. Okay, this can be a nice one to have. Obviously, we can't get any bonus from that, but it's initial bonus. If you have 2, I would use it. I would use it. Another one is Shiro Isolated, which increases both damage and shatter to targets with more than 50% health by a set amount, which is, yeah, it is nice. We do enough damage to shatter already, but this will help with that to deal crazy damage if you want to. The 4-piece set of Shiro is very nice because upon entering battle, gain a 20% damage boost of 35 seconds. It resets 5 seconds after exiting the battle, so then you're going to want to enter again and take advantage of that. But this is very far on. Everyone right now, they don't really have the matrices because the game hasn't been out long enough on global unless you've been whaling and spending a lot of money. So first things first, focus on the weapon. Enjoy it because it is pretty much the best weapon for player versus environment. I will happily confirm that, and if anyone can prove me wrong that someone is better than King for player versus environment, we're talking about world bosses, not world bosses, just things around the world. Okay, just for general advancement in the game, I can run around the whole world and not even really have to switch my weapon. Even if they're strong against me, even if they're strong against fire, I will switch. But I don't need to. It's not a necessity. Okay, guys. I mean, I hope that's helped some of you decide if you would like to go into King. I 100% recommend it. I haven't regretted it, and I even used my selector box to make him stronger. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.